Hey, beautiful people, it's your girl Rocqi, your revolutionary hippie from LifeIsRocqi. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help me get monetized. All right, so today on my Becoming a Feminine Woman series, a little overlap with Rocqi's reflections, as we sometimes do, okay? But yes, as you can see from the title, sexual liberation equals sexual empowerment. So what do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, let's get the backstory. My grandmother started having children 13, 14, right? Now, yes, she stayed with my grandfather for the remainder of her children. They got married, all that stuff. But that was hella young, okay? Didn't know exactly what she was doing, right? Mom had my sister at 18. My sister had my niece at 17. So, all that to say, my dad was like, whoo, gotta throw a wrench in this cycle, okay? So, he did something different. He talked about sex all of the time. Like, it was the educational piece that of videos he showed me and shit. Not necessarily how to have sex, which would have been helpful, but like just the conversation around sex, the emotional aspect of it, that kind of thing. And then he talked about his experience with my sister. So because it was so normalized, I didn't have any shame, secrecy, or silence around it, right? Like I didn't. My dad always said like I could tell him, right? And I was like, when it came down to the actual act, I was like, okay, do I tell him before and he stops me, or I tell him after and he asks me a whole bunch of questions? So I ain't say shit. But he did ask me about a year later, and I hesitated, right? Because this is oh shit, is it gonna be questions? I don't want to answer no specific questions. No, not really. Um, and but then I was like, he did say tell him, so let me tell him. So I told him, yep, I've been sexually active, and he had a whole crying spiel about my sister again. But the only question he asked me was, did I want to be on birth control? And I answered yes. Like, I understand women have issues with chemicals being in their bodies. There are starting to be some non-hormonal ones. Check them out, okay? Because for me, I choose not to get pregnant because, well, from 17 to recently. I choose not to get pregnant because I wasn't ready and intentional about bringing life into this world. Okay? Like, I think that needs to be a conscious decision prior to conception. This isn't no whoops accident, like, oh, here we go, let me raise a human being. Nah, I don't believe in that. Sure, it happens plenty of times. Are the kids okay? Therapy says otherwise. But it is fucking different when you are planning for a child, when you're excited to have a child prior to conception. Like, the actual act of trying to have a child is fun, you know? And then you have your partner there. They're with you throughout the journey. Like, you've already vetted them as who they're going to be as a parent. You've discussed parenting shit, like parenting styles, right? How we're going to discipline, the lessons and values we want them to learn. Hell, like my partner, rites of passage. But anyways, going on a tangent. Check out my poem Parenthood by Ashley Raquel. It's in my playlist Poetry by Ashley Raquel because I express more about my thoughts on this. Okay. But all that to say, yes, I was on birth control because I chose not to get pregnant. I was not relying on anybody else that was outside of my body, right? I'm like, nah, that's me, bruh. That's me, right? This is my body and I choose what the fuck I want to do with it. Okay. So therefore, no, I have not experienced pregnancy. And now I'm actually off birth control because I'm with my partner who I want to co-parent with, right? We're excited to build a family. So, different. Anyways. But reflecting on my sexual experiences of the past, I am proud to say that they were all conscious decisions. They were all conscious decisions. Now, so that being said, no one took advantage of me, which I am proud to be able to say. But it's because I had that much awareness around sex. And let me break it down to you. With my first, all I said for having my first sexual experience, because I'm trying to change the language of virginity, all I said was I wanted to be in a relationship with someone, I wanted to be in love with someone, and I wanted to be comfortable with someone. And I felt that with my first boyfriend, because like he tried to touch and I felt uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, this isn't someone who I want to have sex with, because I want to feel comfortable being naked in front of them. I want to feel comfortable having them touch me, right? So I'm definitely going to teach this to my daughters, because yes, I mean sons too, or whoever we have, but definitely to the girls. But yeah, so that happened. Like, we broke up a few months after that, but yeah, I was comfortable. I do not regret it to this day, right? Now with the second sexual partner, like, we had sex and then we became boyfriend girlfriend that same night, right? But after that, I was like, sex is pleasurable. Why am I confining it to a relationship, right? So with my third sexual partner, he was my boyfriend, but we did break up, and then the sex was good, so we decided to keep it going, right? And after that, it was just like free for all. If I want to have sex, I'm gonna have sex. And for me, maybe because I had a logical mind, I don't know, but I was able to see, and this definitely continued through college, I was able to see if a guy had respect for my body or not. It was very obvious, the guys who didn't, and who viewed me as disposable and things like that. Like, it was very obvious. I don't know how y'all didn't see it. Maybe y'all weren't trying to see it, but it stood out like a motherfucker to me. Just look at how he treats and talks about women. Like, you know? And like, I've had one night stands. Now, my one night stands, I didn't not know them prior. It was like, I knew of them. We hit it. And then, like, I didn't reach back out. He ain't reached back out. I'm like, I'm glad it was understood that this was only happening once, you know? And then I've had like sexual partners that have lasted for years, right? And those were like some amazing sexual experiences, because it was like, for one of my friends with benefits, it was like, we never really talked about it, which my communication has increased tenfold by now, but the romantic wasn't there. Like, platonically, we was cool. Like, we enjoyed each other's company. The sex was banging, but yeah, it was just like, we cool. And like, that consisted through college, right? It was on and off, but it was like, yeah, it was understood. And I really appreciate having a consistent sex partner, right? Because when I got to grad school and it was less black people, I was like, ah, shit. But then again, had a couple one nights and it was cool. Like, I'm stressed. I don't have any capacity for a relationship. I just need to feel good right quick, okay? And when I say it leads, sexual liberation goes to sexual empowerment, because it's like, yeah, I respected my body. And just because you have a one night doesn't mean that you don't. And why do you think that it does? Like, this whole act of penetration, meaning superiority, one, let's assess, okay? And two, women becoming loose or some shit. First off, we can push a human being outside of our vagina and it still goes back to work as it was supposed to. Your penis ain't shit, okay? But anyways. Like, it was... Sex is natural. And go to It's So Real podcast, where I just did a Rocqi's reaction. And I said, if sex is natural, why do we shame it? Because it's natural. And like, for me, it was consensual. I consent, he consent. Let's get to it. Like, if I'm attracted to you, you attracted to me, why can't we have sex? Because of the rules of society? Fuck it. The rules of society don't exist in my bedroom. Like, the fact. and I'm looking back on my sexual experiences and I'm like, now sure, some some of them I regret, and that's just more, it's not necessarily anything they did to me. It was more so like, I know where my head was at that place in time, and while it wasn't an emotional impact, it was just like, I could have gone somewhere else and stayed more true to who I am and what I wanted for myself, type of thing. Yeah, that part. But otherwise, like, yeah, I'm glad that I had the experiences that I did, because I owned who I was sexually and sensually as a woman. Right? That was me embracing my feminine energy. I recognize that I fucking look good as shit, okay? I recognize that guys were attracted to me. I recognize that I was attracted to guys. And I recognize that, yes, sexual pleasure feels good, right? Like, now, sure, I stopped counting my body count after realizing that shit does not matter. Because again, I push a human baby out. I can push multiple human babies out. Your penis don't matter. Okay. And then second, as long as I'm safe and healthy, who gives a fuck? Now, if you are infected, that's a larger conversation, because we do not teach people how to have healthy relationships with someone who's sexually infected. Transmitted affected? You know what I'm talking about. Has an SDI. All right. But anyways, I'm cool. So that being said, why the fuck does my body count matter? And now I'm starting to experience women, and the language and definitions of sex gets a lot more flexible. So therefore, I was like, there is no point in counting, because I'm going to be counting for days. Shit. It's shit, no, bruh. We ain't going to count these. So therefore, I was counting at a certain point, and then I just stopped, and then it was too much to go back and remember everybody. So yes, I have a high number, but it ain't crazy. It may be crazy to you, but it ain't crazy to me, and that's all that matters. Okay. But anyways, yes, I feel like now, as far as the mindset that you have to have, yeah, you have to, the man has to respect me. The man has to respect my body. And one, I always made sure that I was pleasured. There was no, it's over. Nah. We gonna wake your ass up, all right, and get to getting, because this ain't just about you, boo. Okay. And also, I didn't really even have that problem. Yeah, I didn't really have that problem. But, so I must have been picking some good guys. But yeah, it felt like, looking back, I'm like, no wonder I was confident in who I am as a woman, because it's like, I knew my sex appeal. I knew that I could get it, and I got it. And it was with men who respected my body. And again, maybe it's because some women are different, and I recognize that growing up. You know, some women don't just want sex. They want a relationship. Well, there's more and more of us who are like, yeah, no, sex feels good, and I'm not in the mood for a relationship right now. I got things to do. Or like, I'm not romantically attracted to you, but I am physically and sexually attracted to you. Okay. But it's also having respect for yourself, you know, and it's not the way that people put it. It's, and it's hard to break down. It's like, how can I put this? Respect for yourself by choosing who you're allowing into your body. And that's why I said it was conscious decisions. Some of those decisions, yeah, like, all right, girl, you could have chosen a little bit better for yourself, you know? And it had to do with the character of the men, right? And why I was choosing them. Again, sometimes I wasn't in a great headspace, and I was using sex to escape, because sex feels good, got me out of the house, got me in the company of somebody else, you know? But other than that, like, nah, I was very conscious in my decisions, and I was, again, respecting myself by who I was choosing to allow into my body. And those Men respected me and respected my body, right? So, yeah, I'm glad that, like, casual sex is no longer for me. I do need an emotional connection with them. So I'm glad I had the experience that I did. I got it out of my system, essentially. Because yeah, now I'm just like, energy. I got things to do. So yeah, if I'm gonna connect with someone sexually, I want it to be also emotionally. But yeah, I feel very empowered by just owning my body. And owning my body meaning I'm also a sexual being. I'm a sensual being. That's part of who I am, and I don't have to deny that shit. For what? For the judgment of Christians? Well, guess what? I ain't Christian. You know? So, yeah, and I think with the normalization of sex, because it's fucking natural, every species does it, except the asexual ones. But, yeah, it's like that liberation, that positivity that it led to. It's just, whew. But you also got to know your sexual boundaries, right? Because, yeah. And I'm also thankful that I was never around any sexual assaulters, you know? Like, I'm very thankful because there's been plenty of times where some shit could have gone down. And I may have been, but my girls that I was with protected me, you know? Careful who you're drinking around, because... But yeah. So that being said, all of my experiences have been one of empowerment. And there hasn't been a time, honestly, where it's like, okay, there has been. So, but this was with the romantic. It was like when my ex, who we were in a relationship for like 5 months, and then we broke up, but we still fucked like for 3 years after. And then my fiance, those were the only two who tried to stop having sex with me, and that was because they knew of the emotional attachment that it held for me, right? Not proud of it, but you know, I'm a seductress. So that is the siren is my art of seduction. So, you know, and again, I look good. So it really worked for them. But you know, respect a man's no, ladies. Respect a man's no. I've learned. But anyways, other than that, yeah, like, it's all been mutual. If I didn't want no more, nah, he probably. Okay, for the one nights, I didn't call them back and they didn't call me. So it was like, it was mutual. I don't know if it was like, that's what we both wanted going into it, or we already had the decision. The sex wasn't that good. I don't really know. But like all the one nights I had, like that shit was mutual. I ain't called him. I was cool. Right? And then for the friends with benefits, sometimes I would cut that off. And that would be because I was ready for a relationship with somebody else, usually. However, specifically with one in college, when I broke up in that relationship, we went back to having sex. So, yeah. Worked out for me is all I'm saying. So, I feel sexually empowered because of my sexual liberation. It feels fucking amazing to own who I am. My sacral chakra all connected and shit, you know? And yeah. Fuck all this haterade on women's sexuality. Fuck it. I'm still a wife. Okay. To be. Yeah. Anyways, let your freak flag fly, but also have a respect for yourself. That's my message. And respecting yourself can look differently. Now, as far as the whole wifey material thing, I used to say my dirt was done in the dark, you know? And who I was in class was a different person. So if you saw me at the parties on Friday and Saturday, let's not bring that up in class, shall we? So I did recognize the difference. But I'm also not the type to go out with like see-through clothing and stuff like that. Now, no shame to women who do that. But as far as like the whole wifey material thing, some men aren't going to want their woman looking like that. Because for me, I could be fully dressed and I'm still getting head turns from guys, right? And my man is with me, right? So his presence is my protector. But I don't want him to have to get into altercation with anybody because somebody then says some slick shit or somebody reach out and touch me. You know, I'm not trying to have that happen, right? I would love to be able to go topless in the sun and feel the warmth on my bosom. Like, I did that once in the backyard and it was fucking amazing. I would love to be able to do that without having a man who thinks he's entitled to my body, right? But we don't live in that era, and I plan on going to a nude beach to be able to participate in that. But yeah, that's also just not me. Like, I feel comfortable with my stomach being out, but yeah, like I stopped wearing short shit more so because it's impacting my movement. You know, I gotta keep pulling shit down. Yeah, I'm just not that way. And then yeah, I would say assess the wifey material thing as in like, do you want your man to have to fight for you, and why are you putting him in that predicament type of thing? Like, why are you choosing that? Just because you want to be free, you know? Like, you gotta make a decision in that. And then it's like also, just because we want to be free, like we also gotta respect the reality that we're in, and we ain't there yet. Okay. I wish we were, but yeah, we're not there yet. But that's a longer conversation that I don't really feel like having. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care of you. Peace and love.